Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Feeling and Healing podcast. I am Danielle Z, your host, MFT in the making, motivator, and mental health maven. And today I am so happy to welcome Amanda. She is the founder and owner of Harmony Within. She is a somatic coach and really helps her clients with nervous system regulation, breath work, all of the lovely body work that we need to do to calm ourselves when we're in a state of activation. So welcome, Amanda.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here because I always love I've told you, I've told everybody this, everybody knows this about me, that I am very mental and cognitive. I live in my brain a lot, but as I'm on my mental health journey, I am learning our bodies are telling us signals at all times.
Hmm.
So would just love your perspective on, when you're in, because I was in a very activated state the other day. I was just experiencing some anxiety and I, did what worked for me. I know breath work works for me. Grounding, I went outside for a little bit. Lucky I live at the beach, so that's a very grounding place. But yeah, would love your perspective and the work you do with your clients on how to, ground themselves and find harmony within.
Absolutely. I love that. And it's so interesting because um, different people have different go-tos. Now, a lot of times the breath is the go-to, but I used to be super stressed out,
Mm-hmm.
very stressed out. My parents didn't know how to regulate themselves very well. And so I felt responsible for regulating the whole family growing up. And
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oof.
so that
That's a big
was
responsibility.
Yeah, it was rough. It was really rough. But I mean, my parents were great in some ways, in other ways, we're all human, right? But
Yeah, yeah, of
it
course.
was interesting when I went to counseling. I don't know, it's been 15 years ago now, maybe 17. And with the counselor, and the counselor, he's like, try this breath work, try
Hmm.
Headspace. It's a cute
Oh,
little
yeah,
app.
the app, right? The
Yeah,
app
yeah,
Headspace,
yeah.
yeah.
It's an app. And so I tried it and I was like a minute and a half in, I'm like, I'm out, I can't do this. And I realized that um, to me, it wasn't safe because when I started to breathe, my thoughts would flood in.
Mm.
And then the self criticism and the judgment and all the responsibilities that weren't actually mine. And so it was really interesting to kind of navigate. I had to kind of do it a little differently. I had to learn a new language, really. It was learning how to to be kind, to speak kindly, and then I was able to do the meditations.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was able to do, and I did a lot of guided meditation. There's a lady I love, her name's Sarah Blondin, and she's
Sarah.
on all the platforms. She's
Okay.
amazing. And was kind of what I needed to talk me down to a place of kindness to myself where I was even ready to do the breath work.
Mm.
So it's been my passion to like uncover all the different areas that can support our well-being. And I found some that really work for me. And now I am able to be with my thoughts. Now I'm able to do that breath work and have it feel comforting. But it's interesting because not everything will always feel comfortable in the beginning. It's like you
Correct.
find what works for you and you need to find your anchor and then you build from there. And it may look totally different than yours and mine,
Hmm.
and
Oh, yeah.
there are some go-tos, but I really find that when you can find that anchor, then you can build on it. And like we were talking about earlier about building our window of tolerance, building our ability
Mhm.
to be with the feelings that maybe we haven't enjoyed or the emotions that feel off to us, and how can we be with ourselves. And so it's really about diving into for the somatic part, it's really into where do you feel it? What does it feel like? You got that sinking feeling in your gut when something really hard happens. That's like a visceral reaction, and our body has memories.
It
So,
does.
and they're stored in different parts of our body. So, um, it it's really about how can we be present with it without trying to make part of ourselves our enemy. How can we befriend ourselves even in the uncomfortable spaces? And learning to be comfortable with the uncomfortable is really key. And I know it sounds kind of funny, but it's really true. How can we be okay with something's hard for me right now? And there's a part of me that
Mhm.
gets triggered. How can I recognize, okay, let me pull myself back? That trigger is just a warning sign.
Yep,
Uh,
100%.
yeah. So it's been really an interesting journey to go from like super dysregulated. And I probably wouldn't have even wanted to be around me years ago because I was so like, no, I can't, it's not safe to be there. Actually, there's a
Mhm.
woman that's here in town, and I was talking about harmony with it, and she's like, well, I don't even want harmony. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. She's very triggered, very triggered.
Interesting. Okay. Very
And so,
activated,
but
yeah.
yes, and so it's interesting when we can stop and come back to the breath. I wanted to show
Mhm.
you one of my favorite go-tos, okay?
Yeah,
And I
that'd
know,
be great. Yeah, and
so
I will share with you too, and I think the point that you made earlier, just like a couple of minutes earlier, that
right.
this like somatic work and breath nervous system regulation work, it's not a one size fits all. Like as you
No,
said in your experience, like for like breathing was foreign to you. That was probably like because you didn't your nervous system wasn't regulated, so the unfamiliar felt like, oh my gosh, no, like because you're right, in the beginning it will feel. So something that I've learned within my life and also in just work with my clients that that's because your nervous system is trained, even if it is dysfunctional or unhealthy, it's trained to go to the familiar
mm-hmm,
versus the new. So you're right, like in the beginning, you are going to have that uncomfortable, like this doesn't feel right, but if you continue to practice it, you'll retrain your nervous system to be like, no, this is safe. It's helping me.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, and I love breath work. That works for me. So go on. Excuse me. I just wanted to make
Yes.
that point because I love that you brought light to that because I think a lot of people are like, yeah, meditate, like we're throwing a lot of things, but it's like you
Right.
come up with your own personal toolkit that you have. And then you go out in the world with it. Like what works for
Right.
Amanda might not work for Danielle. What works for Danielle might not work for Amanda. But we all have resources that we and our bodies are different, you know?
Right. And the more we can find what works for us now, the more we can build on that. And
Yes.
then the other things that may have felt uncomfortable before are like, oh, this feels good now. But it's like we have to retrain our nervous system to be okay with different things
Mm-hmm.
than like you said are the familiar. It's
Yep.
like I have a poem that I wrote that talks about you know it takes me to the places that are familiar, but there's no safety there anymore. And that's one of the things I realized is that I had the old familiar comforts weren't really comforts, they were just familiar. And so it was like, how can I find what is actually comforting and
Yeah.
not,
Oh, I love that. I love that you said that. That's amazing. Yeah.
yeah, and not beating myself up continually or a little more, or.
Yeah.
So it's the old pattern, just being unkind to ourselves or to our
Yeah.
bodies, and finding what truly nourishes us.
That's a great, great point. I love that you said that. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, if you want, maybe I'll read my poem to you if you want.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. I know you
you
shared
know
with
what?
me some of your poems when we first met, and you're a beautiful writer. And that's another. I mean, it might not be. You might not think of it as. I mean, I think of that as healing and work that you do,
100%.
grounding, catharsis, self-expression, writing, like being creative or whatever that may. Maybe it's painting, maybe it's whatever. Any art is
Yes,
healing.
it is. It is. So I did promise we were going to do a little thing to help with
Yeah,
your nervous
absolutely.
system.
Yeah, whenever
So
you're
let's
ready.
do
Yeah.
that, and then
Yeah,
then I'll share my poem if it works out. So
absolutely.
um,
Perfect.
this one, for anyone who's on the call, listening, seeing, what you do is you take the palm of your hand, obviously not when you're driving or
When you're
walking,
when you're not operating any heavy machinery.
and anyway, so you take the palm of your hand, the base of your hand, and you put it gently over your eyes, just gently, and then you put your fingers up over your frontal lobe, so right on your forehead.
Okay.
And then I just want you to just breathe in, breathing into your belly, And breathing out. And just stay here for maybe a minute. Just take a few nice deep breaths, whatever pace you want, whatever feels good to you. Just take another breath or two and breathe. Feel your bottom in the chair, your feet on the floor, and just breathe. And whenever you're ready, you can let your hands back down. Take your time.
Hmm. Wow. Ooh. Okay.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
I liked it. And I will say I like to, and that I love it. So that took what? A minute? Like
Hmm.
to
Yep.
maybe like, and I that's why I think for me, and I never have done like the when you put close your eyes, but that like really locked you in the present.
Right.
And made me think about like my breath more because I feel like we're all, my brain is in 12 different places at one time. So it was
Right.
I was able to ground within myself.
Right. So what that does is it kind of shuts off that higher thinking.
Mm.
When you put that connection with your
Oh,
frontal
like,
lobe, with your
yeah.
forehead, it really
Interesting.
kind of calms that part of your nervous system so that it kind of helps you to not to be present. That's
Mm.
literally what it's about, is it
I didn't
helps you
know
to do
that.
that. So that has been one of my go-tos from for a very long time. And it has been, and if you need to do it longer, you know,
Yeah.
do it as long as you need, or maybe you only have a minute, or, you know, but that's one of the things especially in the very beginning when I didn't have a lot of tools in my toolkit. That's one of the
Hmm.
ones that I used
That was your
regularly.
go-to.
Yeah, that was my go-to.
Love it.
And Yeah, so it's really finding what works for you. And maybe, excuse me, it's funny. So I had a situation recently, kind of a health scare, if you would.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I realized I forgot. No, it's okay. So yeah, I don't want you to be sorry because this is the key. Like if you have a health scare, it's not to send us down the fear hole. It's to send
No,
us
yeah, it's your
to
body
how to
telling you
support
something. Yeah.
ourselves. And my body's telling me what I need to do,
Yeah,
because, and I knew
true.
that, I knew that. It was just, it was interesting to have that realization. But I've learned to see these things not as something to fear, but as something to strengthen us. How
Agreed.
gives us more tools to be like, oh, well, this is the area I need to look at to work on this part of my life. And yeah, it's really interesting to take off the fear and the shame and the guilt about things and realize, oh, it's just giving us more information about how to support our nervous system, you know,
Oh,
and how to support
absolutely.
our
I
body.
mean, I always say the what did they say? Like, I love like that, like your emotions, whatever experience your body is telling you, whether it be illness, that's a signal. It's a,
Right.
and it's information to so you can then listen to it and then
Hmm.
that's I think the the big problem. We sometimes don't, because life is life and we don't have time, but if you really do listen to your body, it will tell you what it needs,
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely. And that's why I love the somatic. So soma just means body. That's what it is. So, and it's interesting, when we kind of tap into that. There's so many different layers. Like there's the subconscious beliefs, there's the self-sabotage that comes along. And so it's recognizing maybe these patterns were all built into our system at a very young age, like 7 and below is like kind of
Okay.
the cutoff. So
Okay.
before that, we gained all this knowledge and stored it in a way that only a younger person can figure out. Oh, well, this means that. And it's like, how can we
Mm,
recalibrate things to be more supportive of what's really actually
going
going on?
on.
We
Yeah.
did the best we could. And it's not about beating our younger self up for how we were, but how can we move forward in a way that's more supportive?
Absolutely. And I think from what you just said and how I interpreted it too, is that like life is very different from when we're like, 0 to 7 than from where we're like 30 to 40. So like if we're like training our system in that period of our life, you have to, there is some, as you said, like there's nuance to it. Like I now understand more, and I love that you brought that up, why we're not taught these things. And I mean, in school, we're not taught to listen to our bodies unless like you go through an experience in life that then you have to work with a somatic coach or a therapist or what have you, or even medical doctors to really listen to your body. But we're not taught this in like or
Mm-hmm.
maybe and like even I mean, and nowadays I know it's a different world. I actually had a podcast episode, our podcast guest on, and she told me the other day that her kids came home from school, and I was like, I don't think there's a course on emotional regulation or emotions, but they came home with a feelings wheel. And I was like, that's amazing.
Yes.
I was like, I was introduced to a feelings wheel, and not until my education, getting my master's in marriage and family therapy. I was like, and I'm in my 30s. And I was like, I love that they're like, I mean, these kids were, they were young. They were, maybe 5 or 6. They're getting feelings wheels at like that. I'm like, I love this.
Yes.
I'm
Holy
like, we need
moly.
more. We need more of this.
Yes. And it's so funny because my background is in occupational therapy. I was an occupational therapy assistant.
Yeah,
I raised 4 kids, and then I got to a certain point, and then I went back to school and did that. And
amazing.
it's
Which
funny because
thank
I
you
worked
for
in this,
reminding me that it's never too late, everybody.
yeah, never too late. So I went back to school about 12 years ago. But it was interesting because I've worked in the schools a lot, and part of my passion and part of what I want to create in the next couple months is like a parent child kind of
Yeah.
co-regulating
Co-regulation.
together.
Yep.
So we can
That's
do some
amazing.
somatics with them, because you teach the children, like I taught the children in the schools, but if their parents don't understand, when somebody's flapping their hands, maybe they need that. They're regulating our system. So we need to quit telling them, stop
Like,
fidgeting,
stop
stop
doing
this.
that. Yeah,
All the
yeah.
things that they're doing are actually regulating.
Mm-hmm.
Humming regulates the nervous system. There's so many different things. And so it's kind of, I thought it would be really great because I know some teachers who are not regulated, who have kids who are not regulated. And I'm like,
Mm.
helping that group of people is kind of a very big priority for me as I begin to build my in-person and online business up, is to create classes like that as well. So,
Well, that's amazing, that you're doing that because co-regulation is so important. And I was actually previous to this podcast, literally right before yours, I was talking to somebody about that, about how, I think of it personally when I know, and we were talking to earlier, like we're all energy. I know when I'm around, I guess, reframed in my mind because I never, and this takes time. Whenever I was in a situation and I started to feel maybe a little anxious or tense, like I kind of ignored it in the past, but now I know it's my nervous system being like, maybe you're in a situation that you don't feel safe. Maybe you're around somebody you don't feel safe around. So now I take it as a signal, but also the true is of the opposite, right? It's like, who do I feel safe around? When do I feel relaxed? When do I feel calm? When do I feel at peace? Like, where do I feel home? Like, that's
mhm,
like, those are the type of situations, experiences, and people I want to be around because that means I'm regulated.
yes.
And
And then
that's the importance of
also,
co-regulation. Sorry. I mean,
yeah, no, you're good. And it's so interesting too, because I realize that sometimes maybe a trigger we have, oh, well, that was my mother-in-law did XYZ. And so it might not even be the person that we're triggered by. It may be the
yes.
habit,
The
or
exactly.
maybe
Yep.
the familiarity of something. And so sometimes I think people automatically like, I have to push that person out of my life or whatever. And really putting that mirror in front of myself
Mm.
has been like, oh, what in me is triggered by that? Not, it doesn't make them wrong or bad,
No, yeah,
but
exactly. Like look like
what is
go
it in
inward.
me that needs some support, and not in a shame way. Like, we're not, it's not about shaming them or us, but just digging in with curiosity to what's underneath that, you know?
I love, so it's so funny. I actually had like an experience yesterday, and I love that you said that because, and I talked with my therapist about this, and she, it's so like it comes for a circle. The universe is telling me something similar to that. Like I had a little bit of anxiety yesterday, and it was post a conversation with somebody, but we talked about it, and I said this person, as you said, it's not the like it's their behavior or whatever they said activated a wound in me. Like I went back to
Hmm.
me. I was like, it's a, and not, and if this person didn't say anything wrong, it was just a casual
Right,
conversation. But for some reason, it activated something in me and had me get a little bit anxiety. So that was my protective part coming out and trying to manage the situation. And yeah, that's basically what it was. But I brought it back to me. I was like, this is, and it's so fun. That's what my therapist actually told me. She was like, Danielle, she was like, it could have been anybody. It just so happened to be this person that you were with. And like this person is not a bad person. But like it was just a moment we had and they really activate like, and as you said, like, I brought it back to me. Like the whole point is being like, I brought it back to like, all right, let's look inside here and what's going on with me because
right.
I'm reacting. I actually have a tattoo that's on my forearm, and it's your perception of me is a reflection of you. My reaction to you is an awareness of me.
Yes.
So like I always go back when I think about my reactions and how things are showing up in my life. I'm like, what's going on inside here? Because something's going on,
Mhm. Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And I think it's when we do that, it's like we're taking our power back because then we're no longer the
Yes.
victim of, well, they did this to me. And I think that that's what's made this world really rough right now is the whole fear
Mhm.
and, I there's a victim and a villain in every situation. No, there's just people. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that bad things don't happen. I'm not
Yeah, yeah,
discrediting it at
yeah.
all. But, you know, owning that, I was triggered, they aren't the ones who triggered me. I was the one who's triggered,
Yeah, yeah.
and owning who we are and how we respond, it can bring compassion to the situation that is in our control instead of in somebody else's control.
Absolutely. I mean, that's at the end of the day. That's all I always say to people. I'm like, I think like we are all just these little balls of energy, as we were talking about earlier, like walking around on this little planet in these human suits with these spirits inside of us, just trying to do the best we can at the end of the day. And
Yes,
like
yes.
that's like and some people's everybody's best looks differently and we're all, there's so many layers to us as human beings and the human condition. That, I can talk about for days where I devoted my career to, helping humans. But yeah, as you said, like we're just all people. Like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
there's no
My friend, my
yeah.
friend Melody Grace, she says, she has this little song. She's like, everybody's doing the best they can. When they can do better, they will. And then you
I
say
like
the
that. Because yeah,
Ho'oponopono prayer
yeah.
with it. And it's so interesting because as we recognize that, we can give that gift to ourselves and to others, And I feel like it really can kind of shift our experience.
Yeah. I mean, I know because as being a therapist in training, when we see clients and even my coaching clients, like I say this to myself. I don't say this to my clients, which I'm sorry if my clients are listening. I apologize in advance. I'll like, because there is sometimes when you're working with people in these settings, like you're like, oh, like I wish they would like you like or like, I wish they could see what I see, or they wish they could just form this
Mm,
path and like because you see it and you're like, oh, like it's there and you see like I'm like, if you would just walk a little this way. But I have to remind myself, Danielle, they're doing the best they can. Like just because
100%.
you can see it and or whatever, and especially with this comes up actually more in therapy, and which I do not have. I'm working with my agency, And I'm not taking on, I just want to disclaimer for the podcast. I am not taking on therapy clients individually for my business because I have a coaching business, but and because I'm going back
Right.
to school to be a therapist, I have to get all these clinical hours. And so I am
Ooh,
working, yeah, I'm working with an agency. I'm working under somebody else's license to do this. This is all like, legal and stuff like that, obviously. But I am
yeah.
seeing I'm seeing clients as a baby therapist, as we call us, for
Aw.
my training. Yeah, I'm a baby therapist.
Yes.
So like, because obviously we need real world, isn't, a master's degree that we're not just reading out of books. We need real world training in the field. So, but that's something we say at our practice is like when people, because we see a lot of, I work with a lot of people that unfortunately have experienced domestic violence, sexual assault, family violence, like very highly dysfunctional systems. And like we have to come in and like be like, even though it might be like dysfunctional, I'm like, that's the best this family can do right
Yep.
now. And you have
Yep.
to help move them out of that. But sometimes it's like this, like we and our supervisors remind that of us all the time. Like when things happen in the sessions and we're like, oh, like I wish this went this way. And it's like they're like this, they're doing what the best they can and they're doing what is familiar. Like you were
Mm,
talking in the beginning, like
yeah,
it's like your nervous system is trained. That's why I think it's so important, like somatic work, body work, because your nervous system is part of your body,
it
you
is.
know?
It is.
And
Uh, Yeah, it's a really interesting. I was taught a little bit differently, and it really resonates with me. And that our our thoughts may be here, but our whole body is kind of the mind. And so when we have these experiences, like I had some shoulder issues working in a nursing home, and
hmm
um, they kind of went away a little more when I wasn't there. Like even
hmm
when I wasn't
hmm
doing something, and I was like, okay, that's my body. That's really, that really resonates with me that our body, kind of like the book, The Body Keeps the Score, if you know
You
that book.
took the words right out of my mouth.
Yes, yes. And so if okay, you need some Kleenex and you need some time to process. Don't try and read that book all at once. I'm telling you, it's a
Oh,
lot.
that book. Yeah. Well, actually,
But
it's so funny. I've read that book, and then this semester, I start literally my spring semester today. We have a whole class on trauma, and I already know that book. We're gonna
yes.
unpack that book quite a bit.
Mm,
I think
yes.
that is the book we're reading for the trauma class, which is a very appropriate. But I've read it, so
Yes, yes. It's
yeah.
it's and it's amazing what you can gain when you go back to it. I'm like, "Oh, yep, yep, yep." All the things that I've been taught, they go right along with that.
Yeah.
And then just having compassion for yourself and your experience. So
100%. Leading with, I
so
love that you also said leading with curiosity as well. I think those two things, when they go hand in hand, curiosity at first and then leading with compassion, no judgment. Like, like it's so important. And you can really do some amazing work when looking in at yourself when you
yes,
combine those two things together.
absolutely. And it's interesting, there's a guy named Michael Singer. He wrote the book The Untethered Soul and the
The name
Surrender
sounds so familiar.
Experiment.
I haven't, the same, that name
He's
sounds so familiar, but yeah.
he does a lot. He's famous all over, in certain circles, and it he has this, relax and release. You don't, and that's the power of
Mm.
even the breath work. Like for me, I've incorporated it this way. Like you breathe in, and something comes up, a thought, an idea, an emotion, a trigger, and then you breathe it out. Like allowing it to be there, and like, oh,
Mm.
I hear you here, okay, and then breathe it out. Um, and I'm not saying everything is that simple, but in the moment, it can be that simple.
Yes.
Relax
Yeah.
and release, relax. You're the
Yeah.
witness of the experience. You don't have to own it. You don't have to keep it stuffed inside of you.
Hmm.
And that's been, relax and release over and over again. That's why the breath is so important. It's
Oh,
like the
yeah.
filter, that you can. And I notice, a lot of people that I work with in the nursing homes and other places in my life, And just in my somatic coaching is like they
Hmm.
just, we hold our breath.
Yeah,
We've been
we
trained to like
do. You're right. We do. I mean, I actually like do it a lot, I noticed. And just even if I think maybe it's like a nervous tick when you're like if you're like you're stressed, like you kind of just hold your breath a little bit. You're like
yeah.
you just get a little tense.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why like I love to do breath work with people. I have a little program that I like to use and it really helps to like calm the nervous system and create a space with your breath that feels safe.
Amazing. Yeah.
And that is the power of shifting it from hyperventilating to, oh, what feels naturally and organically supportive. And so I have a whole little program that goes through that, and that really has helped me to be able to sit with myself and to not hold on to things that are tense and tight in my body. So I wanted to share a poem,
Yes,
um,
please do. I was actually
and
gonna you took the words right out of my mouth. I was actually gonna mention that. I was like, let's go. I was like, I want to revisit that.
okay, okay. So I have two, so I'm not
Yeah,
sure
go
which one
for
you
it.
want. Okay,
Absolutely.
both.
We can do both. Do both. Why
Okay,
not?
all right, let's do it. So the first one is kind of okay, take a breath. I'm going to go into this is like where I was like this past summer. I was trying to write
Okay.
it out, my feelings. So it's kind of between the old ways and the new ways. And I may stop in a place or two just to, or if you have a
Yeah, yeah.
question about something during
Yeah,
it,
no.
please, we'll stop and go through it because there's so much to unpack. And
Yeah,
it's funny, yeah, I had a really cool experience with somebody who's like, I want to work with you after I read it. I was like, okay.
that's
Anyway,
amazing.
so
I love that for you.
it was really fun. So it was intense. So all right. So I'm a part of a group called the Fifth Woman, and that's a poetry group that kind of we dive into the things. So
Mm,
yeah, okay.
all the
So,
things, I'm sure.
yeah, all the
All the
things,
things.
and this is all about my healing and
Okay.
helping others to heal.
Heal.
So
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
is. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm me. Between two worlds, the old and the new, needing to blur the lines to hide the truth. I'm amazed at how much can be hidden. The mask I was adorned with at birth, believing others' needs, others' traumas, determined my worth. My parents too were given a mask. I don't think they ever saw through it, though there were times I felt they wanted to remove it. Hidden behind the stories left unspoken, the deeds done, the hearts broken. Old comforts still seeking, old ways repeating, that habitual thing, right? To protect, to carry on the shame, the blame, the pain as it drives everyone insane. I see the
Yeah.
fractures. Yeah.
Sorry. Breathe
No,
there.
you're fine. No, see, fine. Speak up. Let's do it. I see the fractures in my mask. I want to be free at last. To change, shift, remove its grasp, realizing the power of releasing its hold on my skin. The critic waiting in the cracks, triggered by my past, trying to hide me, deride me, to suppress me, to guide me down old paths so well worn. No vision is needed to take me there, but the destination they lead me to is bare. Stripped naked, my wounds just stare, yearning for the healing balm of truth. Painstakingly done, the process begun. Oh, to be brave enough to glance under the mask, to feel the shadows and tears, the rumors and fears, to find and utilize the tools to feel safe here. Breathe. Peace. No longer suspended. I'm still alive. Nothing more to fear. Equipped with the tools to stay clear, to sit with the emotion, to support the commotion. I choose to be free, to thrive, no longer to hide, but let love be my guide. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm me. My life is no longer an expression of fear, transformed to nourishment and support. The old and the new combined to flourish. A new way to open to freedom and purpose. Be seen, speak, let others be what they want to be. Kind of like you were saying about the clients, right?
Yep. We're all on our own journeys.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yes. Mask removal is not an easy position. It's feeling the feels without making it a condition.
Yes.
Hearing the stories finally spoken, forgiving all that seemed broken, experiencing every emotion. New comfort seeking, new ways repeating, allowing myself to truly be free. I trust in the moment I will know what to do. I tell my story to help others find their way too. Create life anew to see our way through. So,
Oh, that's beautiful.
thank you.
Thank you
So,
for sharing that. I love that.
yeah, it's
I
really,
love that you have brought in poetry into your healing journey. I think that I think writing, I am not as eloquent as you. But I journal, and I think writing, getting it's a normal, lovely form of self-expression, but it's also so healing.
it is. It really is. And it's interesting to like, for me, I love parables. They really kind of
Mm,
bring things to light or help me to see them in a way that makes them
you didn't
feel
see them
less
before.
traumatic. Yeah. And
It's
like,
yeah, it's
oh,
soft, it's softer. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure, like, I mean, I'm sure I read a lot of books. I'm sure who I mean, they're very like Rumi-esque. Like, I'm sure Young Pueblo. He has a bunch of books. He's a writer. He has like
Okay.
this whole his books are amazing. And there's this other woman that I love her. She's Brianna Wiest. Like her writing, like
Oh,
yeah, I'll send you
yeah. Send me the links.
their
Yeah.
links after the show. But there, when you read, like, she'll just post some excerpts on like social media, but when you read her words, you're like, oof, like I feel that. Like
Yes. Yes.
you're like, oh man, like, yeah, and she has some lovely books that I think I mean, more eloquent than I could ever be. But yeah, but
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that and sharing your gift to the world, because it is a gift, because I could not, I'm not as eloquent.
Yeah. And it's funny, I wrote my first poem, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago,
Oh
I
wow.
think. And then it wasn't until recently when I really started digging into my healing that it's like it
Mm,
just kind of started coming to me. Like it just kind of like downloads of thoughts and ideas. And it's interesting, actually, the next poem I want to read is kind of like was right in the middle of my journey. I was doing
okay.
somatic coaching training for, it's like I've had about a couple of years now of training in that. Um, that was right in the big, learning to rediscover the body and really step into
Mm,
the body and see the wisdom of my body. And then I was also doing, which I still do, is I do it's kind of music for alignment. And when you sing, when you're in clear and you're aligned, it's your voice sounds totally different than
hmm.
when it's
Did I know?
not. Yes, actually, Beth Noel, she's a local friend of mine, but she does in person and virtual. But it's really about coming back and listening to your body and listening to your heart and really grounding in
Yeah.
and speaking from there. It's like you're speaking from your foundation where it feels supported. And so I was doing that. I was clean eating at the moment. I was like eating super clean, like hardly any even root vegetables. It was just like
Wow.
meat and greens and stuff. It was pretty intense, but in the pro and then I was doing the breath work and the subconscious beliefs. I was doing all these things at once, and that's when this next poem that I'll share kind of came about. This one was um, really transformative for me because I recognized I don't have to be all those things in the mask. I don't have to I don't have to keep on the old ways. There is something
Mm,
more out there for us. And it's not that those things haven't always been there, but maybe we didn't have the lens to see them. And how can we recognize what really nourishes us? The people, the places, the experiences, the conversations,
absolutely.
the for me it's the lack of news is was one of my big
Oh
peacemakers,
gosh.
or the lack of contentious conversation. Like I don't need that. people can believe what they want to believe. They can argue with whoever they want to argue with that wants to argue, but I choose not to. And I've stepped out of that. I'm not here to blame. I'm not here to vilify. I'm not here to
No,
shame.
absolutely. Oh yeah, no, absolutely not.
Here to
No.
like I'm here to like let what feels nourishing to me, and I want to do more of that, you
Well, I
know?
will share, like something that I focus on too. And
Yeah.
I love that you brought up like content consumption. Um, that's like part of what I like to call like my mental health diet. I like think of like what I'm
Yeah.
consuming. So like when I think of like my mental health diet and what my brain is consuming, like I may be in traditional because like I'm very academic, so I have to read a lot for school. And also
Right.
too, people make fun of me because every book I don't like you would think I would like to read like fantasy and nonfiction. Every single book that I read is like educational, self-help around psychology, bettering yourself, personal growth. And people are like, you just live in, I'm like, I enjoy it. Like it's just my
Right.
subject that I like to read about. Um, but then, you think about social media consumption, news, reality TV, you know what I mean? Like it's like kind of like your diet. Like I consider like, reality TV like the potato chip you know, of your mental health diet, It's
Yes.
like I mean it's not great. It's good to have one chip, but like don't have a whole bag, But I love that you brought up the news too because yeah, that's a and that like that's just a it's a you have to be very set very hard boundaries I think with that.
Right.
Because you can get down a rabbit hole with
Right.
that
And
very
I think
quickly.
that we have to realize the agenda of the media is not really
Oh
to
yeah, it's
inform.
not to help
It's
us with
to
our mental health.
fear.
Yeah,
It's to create chaos and fear and contention.
correct. Correct.
When
Yeah,
we
that is the
realize,
goal. Yeah,
yeah, like no,
absolutely.
come
The
out. And
goal
it's
of
been
the
great.
news, yeah, of news is not to is absolutely not to to help us with our mental health. Let's just say that. That is
No,
not the
no,
goal.
no.
Wish
And
it
and it's
was.
like, yeah, I know. It's like, and it's like about being, are we being loyal? Like people are like, well, I need to be informed. And I'm like, okay, you can do that, but I choose to be informed by what nourishes me and not what
Exactly,
tears me down.
not exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
okay. I don't have to be everybody's people in it,
Hey,
but
we're
I
all,
feel like
we're
we
all
all got our
different.
own paths. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
We all have our own paths. We all have our own, our own um journeys in life, and yeah, we just have to honor them, and what works
Hmm.
as once again, like what works for one person might not work for another, and that's okay. Like it's okay to be different. Like
Right.
I think we live, and this is getting, I won't stay here because we live in a society where we're very polarized, unfortunately. And it's like sometimes it's like, well, it's my team or your team. It's like we don't, it's okay to be on different teams and just meet where we have common ground. Like that's perfectly okay. Like we don't have to be like, well, if you're not like me, then I'm not, it's like, no, like we're all different.
And that's the beauty of it is we don't have to be the same. And I have people, from different backgrounds, different belief systems. I work with people who have maybe some trauma around the idea of religion or God, and maybe they don't believe in God. Maybe they believe in different things. And I think all of it, if we can just come together and find that common ground, like you said, we don't have to be the same as someone else. And that's the beauty of it. We can see things from a different angle and we can support each other in a more healthy way. When I think, oh my gosh, I studied world religion when I was in college, the Eightfold Path, and I was young, and I loved it. I loved the some of the all of the things. There are so many beautiful traditions from all of these different religions, and I know some are
Yeah,
vilified, but it doesn't mean there isn't some good in all of the different places. I'm not
correct.
talking about cults or you know going off and killing people, but there's so many
Yeah,
good
yeah,
things
yeah,
in lots
yeah.
of the different religions that just gets overlooked at times. And I'm like, if we could bring all those things together, we could have a more healthy, whole healing experience for people.
Agreed. Agreed. But did you want to share another poem?
Yes, I would love to.
Yeah, absolutely. Please go. Please do it.
Okay, so this one, I a lot of times when I do my breath work, because I was doing 20 minutes twice a day. I
Okay.
I'm like, why not go outside, put my feet in the grass at the same time?
Yeah,
So
ground. Yeah,
I would do the
absolutely.
breath work at the same time. I'm like, why not? Even if it's cold, like I would literally wear my toboggan, as they call it, the hat, and my
Yeah, yeah,
blanket,
yeah.
go out. My feet are bare. And when I'm done, I just go hop in the bath if I need to because I'm cold, whatever.
Yeah, no,
But
that
it's
good
great.
good for you because it I will say my grounding techniques are not as what's that they're not as prevalent in the winter because I just don't want to go outside.
Yes.
It's so
But if they're
bad.
warm
It's
enough,
horrible. I'm like I just need to I'm just in a winter the winter kills me. It kills me.
yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, it's fine. It
makes
we all have
sense.
I have to go through it, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
seasons. It teaches me, to rest, and there's different, wait, I need seasonality in my life because if I was in like nature, you can't bloom all year, and I need like
Mm,
the recharge. But
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay. We've got to meet ourselves where we're at, right? So
100%,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah, share
Um,
whenever you're ready. No
all
rush.
right. Growth of a tree. A tree that survives the storm takes time to grow its roots down deep. As with the trees, I am healing, growing, expanding, one day at a time, planting my feet bare, wide open, and firmly on the ground. The earth is the healer. It knows what to do. It is slow, constant, and true. I am growing, moving, expanding, learning, breathing, and stretching in ways I feel called to. My body knows and it thanks me as I align my thoughts and will with what sets my soul on fire. Laying aside the distractions of the world and leaning into the body, it knows how to bring me clarity and healing. There is so much more to life than the toxic things that bring only instant gratification.
Mm.
Feeding the soul is my goal. Nourishing the mind and retraining my body to fully awaken from the sleep coma that has tricked me into contentment while binding body, mind, soul, and heart. Liberation and freedom are on the other side as I release the false ideas around foods, thoughts, opinions, actions that are hollow. To stop filling the void with what cannot satisfy. As I tune into what is real, my body, mind, soul, and heart realign. My dreams reawaken. My soul expands. To hear my true desires, I dig deeper, to look beyond. The earth is filled with so much goodness that is just waiting for us to tap into. There is freedom in the present moment if I listen to what my true experience is. Does that food, thought, opinion, action really provide the nourishment I'm looking for? If not, what can? My instant response is nature. How can I feel so alone? I am surrounded by singing birds, chatty squirrels, brave chipmunks, and skies that paint a new picture every second. And the trees. Oh, the trees. How they hold wisdom to stand tall and firm, to put roots down deep, fearlessly becoming great, brave, confident, unwavering, yet allowing the weather and the environment to have its way without complaint. Always reaching toward the light, toward the divine. Oh, to be a tree basking in the light of life, to constantly feed my soul and body with living water, to find true nourishment that satisfies, to open my mind and find wisdom, vision, and life, to help all of me feel, to turn off the false chatter, replacing it with what truly nourishes. There is so much more to life than the cheap tricks I had fallen for. Eyes wide open to see life's experiences, awake, fully present, and listening to what my body has been telling me all along.
Amazing. I love that. Listen to your body, everybody. That is the biggest. I know I like I share this all the time on like my social media, but I'm like I just want to like hone it into everybody because like once you listen to what's going on in here, you'll be able to, go out in the world that much more, as it's like standing in your power, um,
Yes.
and honoring yourself. And it's not selfish. It's just taking what you need, as you said, like, and I actually speaking of your poem, and it reminded me, I was reminded, I think maybe in somewhere where I was reading something that like we are nature. Like human beings are like I always think of like trees and flowers, but I'm like no, like as human beings, like we are nature as well. So like oh, and you know what it was? I was sorry, I have to go back to why. I was reading, I know like there's different just like I was reading some things about like, male and female energy and men are on 24-hour cycles, but women are on 28-day cycles, as we know. Like we're so
Oh, yeah.
so that's what actually like the work day was been meant for back in the day because men were, in society working. The work day is meant for a man, 9 to 5 every day, repetitive. Not women were very cyclical. So, not that's why sometimes like the grind and the 9 to 5 doesn't work for us because we're just our bodies are cyclical and so is nature and so everything's, life is cyclical. So I'm like, and
Mhm.
that like, and they were like, yeah, like it's like nature, you know what I mean? We're nature. And I was like, you're right. Like human being, we are nature.
And that's the power of connecting with nature. That's the power of grounding. That's the
Yes.
power of looking out, like right outside my window, I have a tree. Like
Yeah,
when we connect even visually or just going out and listening to the birds singing, listening to the wind, it's like it helps me to feel home,
absolutely.
you
Oh my
know?
gosh,
And that's the
absolutely.
power of it. That's the power of it is really how can we come to
Grounding.
ourselves and find that harmony within and speak peace to our souls. And then when we live from there, there's nothing we can't accomplish.
Love, love everything that you just said. And I loved having this conversation with you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and thank you for sharing your lovely poetry. It's beautiful. Yeah,
Thank you.
so I
Thank you. It's my
appreciate it.
pleasure. And
Yeah,
I'm excited to get my business up and running and share it with
yes.
us everybody who wants to. So,
Yes. So right now where they can find you, oh, I know what you obviously you're a somatic coach and so where can people find you on all the social media, I'm sure, and your website?
oh, I do have Instagram. I do have that.
Okay, perfect.
It's let me see. It's Heal the Heart to Thrive.
Perfect.
Or
And
and
I'll
I
put that
can
in the show
I'll
notes.
get you
Perfect.
the links. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's kind of really the only place I'm really on right now.
Okay.
Um, but I do have harmony within the number 4 and then the letter U at
Okay.
Gmail. But I'll get you the info on that. But yeah, I'm happy to share, and I'm
Yeah.
actually looking for some people to test subjects. So if anybody'd like
Oh, that would be one. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah,
to do that, I would
absolutely.
love to because I just love sharing it. If I could do it for free all the time, I would. But I also need to
But you
have
want to,
income.
yeah, but no, I like
You
obviously
know, I need to have a place to live.
being yeah, being a business, you need that the one thing is, you but you also too, I've in my entrepreneurial journey, what you have to give to the world is of value. So that's just the way
Yeah,
our system's set up and all that fun stuff. So thank
yeah.
you again for being on. This was
It's
amazing.
it's my pleasure, and I love it because it's not just a one-off. It's like, do you want transformation? You
Mm,
know? And that's,
yeah.
you take all those tools with you and you can learn how to tap in and you become even more and more able to do things on your own and to
Yes.
extend your power and find your
100%.
truth.
It's all within us. It's
It
just
is.
you have to glean it out. You know,
Yes.
sometimes trust me, sometimes the work to get it out. Like I always say to my therapist, like I say this as a therapist and a coach. I say my goal, I mean, it would financially make me very happy, very, abundant, but is not to be with you for your whole life. Like, I
Right.
want to give you the tools to then go out with yourself and you can then live your life. It's okay to come back or revisit or if you're in a stage, but like as people that help people and like I don't want to be your crutch. I want to be like your like the platform that I put you on so you can go out in the world and conquer it on your own because and that's I think a lot of people think like oh with especially with therapy, not so much with coaching, but with therapy they're like oh like but I will be in therapy for the rest of my adult life because I will be a therapist and I think that's and also too just well, that work that's a coping mechanism that works for me. But by no means, and me and my therapist have this relationship, by no means is she like we're sitting there and dwelling on the past all the time. Like she does challenge me. So You have to
Yes.
find the right people in your life for your support system, um, to get you through.
Absolutely. And I don't think there's ever, well, I'm done learning.
No,
Like it's
oh no,
always,
no,
and
we're
that's what
never
I think
done.
yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like what is next and what other blind spots do we need to work through? And getting the support we need is a powerful space of honoring you. So I love
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
It's
Well,
very
thank
good.
you so much once again
Thank
for being
you.
on the
It's
show.
lovely.
Yes,
Yeah.
and as everybody said, as Amanda shared, you can find her on Instagram for now, but and I will share the links in the show notes to her future, future web online presence. But as usual, you can find the Feeling and Healing podcast on YouTube at Feeling and Healing, as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify.